Hello, everybody. This is a Lamley showcase. This is part 2 of our Lamley Awards focus on Matchbox, the orange brand. We've already looked at all of the licensed new models in the Matchbox basic range. Hopefully you've gone and voted on those. If not, just go to lamleygroup.com and do that. Now we're going to look at all of the licensed moving parts new models from Matchbox in 2022. There was a slew of them. It seems like this line is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm not just talking about moving parts like the actual moving parts line, but there's also Matchbox collectors. There's the special direct-to-consumer Mattel Creations cars. We've got a couple of those that are done with moving pieces, right? Whether it's hoods, doors, you name it. They have been really expanding their moving parts line. I think all of us are embracing it. It seems like they're getting better at it too. Like the castings look cleaner and everything else. It's been really kind of cool to see. And I mentioned in part 1, Matchbox has been on a tear. Obviously, you want to focus on the model that you think is best and the model that you think disappointed you the most. We're going to have both of those polls for this. Also at lamleygroup.com, there is a link in the description. But also, like I said in part 1, take a look and just kind of focus on the overall output from Matchbox. Almost everything is licensed. All of it's realistic for sure. And they've been doing all kinds of cars from all kinds of eras. It's really cool. Basic range is full of EVs. Tons and tons of EVs mixed in with a lot of classics. This seems to be kind of coming from all kinds of directions in the moving parts. And let's get right to it. This first mix of moving parts was very hard to find. I've heard that from a lot of people, and there's a couple of cars in here, some more desirable than others. This may be the less desirable one. Nonetheless, it is new. It is the 2016 Land Rover Evoque. We've seen a hardtop. They just converted into a convertible with opening doors from the basic range, and I'm just showing it to you, and I'm trying not to express too many opinions, but how can you, I mean, doesn't merit much of an opinion. It's just okay. I'll just move on. This is the one that a lot of people have wanted that have had a hard time getting. We actually put this in the best of Matchbox. This is the Ram Ambulance. What's the 2019 Ram Ambulance? Really cool to see this from a lot of Matchbox perspective, Matchbox collector perspectives, because they got an ambulance finally after years and years with not only a metal cab but a metal box as well, right? The ambulance box. And so this one was highly in high demand, I'll say. And then, but because it was hard to find, it kind of has added to that lore. So this has been one that a lot of people have wanted. All right, moving on. This is from the collector line. This is another Dodge Ram, right? We have 2 in a row. These are in somewhat order by release. It's not totally perfect. You'll see that. I'm off on a little bit, but we'll just go as we go, as long as you see them all. This is the 2020 Ram Rebel. Kind of a sport version, right, of the truck with the opening hood. I'm not featuring the opening parts as we go through these. We're just getting through the model so you can see them. Some have opening doors, some have opening hoods. The engines are detailed and things, but we're just focusing on the models themselves. So you can, whatever you decide on best, it's your criteria. This might be lumped in a little bit with like that Evoque. This is the Mazda 2021 Mazda MX-30. Opening hatch on this, which is nice, and it does add to the diversity of the range, modern and classic, all kinds of different stuff. I don't know if this thing, based on how many still hang on the pegs, I don't think the collectors really took to this. They might have more as a basic, maybe, if it's just $1. When you're asking them to even spend a few cents more or $1.50 more, I think it's a bigger sell. You got to really sell them on the casting. And for the most part, I think Matchbox did that using this as an example, like the Range Rover. Range Rover is a very cool classic car. They did that classic silhouette, which is really neat to see. Haven't done this one in a while, but this is better than the old Range Rover they did. This is the 1975 Range Rover. Very, very popular, as you can imagine, in the UK. Really, really cool color. Really just dug this one with the opening hood. That's where you start selling them, is doing interesting castings with opening parts. Here's another one. Did not see this on the pegs very much. Seemed to go very quick. Actually, we didn't see a lot of the collector line, but this is from moving parts. I've seen a lot of moving parts on the pegs. I don't see a lot of the other collector lines, but this one went pretty fast. This is the Mitsubishi Celeste. Very, very JDM. Like, cool to see a deep JDM car. And I know people are like, oh, enough with JDM. Yeah, but yeah, I think what you're kind of saying, I don't agree with you, but I think what a lot of collectors saying more from a Hot Wheels perspective, enough with the Skylines and these particular like very popular models, but you got to celebrate when Matchbox does the Mitsubishi Celeste, and they do it in a very factory stock look. Has that kind of has a little hint of Mustang, a hint of Celica. Really, really cool car. Excellent, excellent choice on a moving parts with the opening hood. I dug that one. I just expressed my opinion. Took the C8 Corvette, turned it into an opening part. It's essentially the same casting as the basic, but this time it has an opening hood in the back, right, to show that engine. I don't know if the casting has changed too much other than the fact that it has the opening part, but it is technically a new model, and there's a lot of fans of the C8 Corvette. That may be something you want to vote on. Here's another one that was very unique. This mix went crazy, right? Had the Corvette in it. It had this Jeep, and we'll get to the next one. What's the name of this one? Well, it's on the turntable. So hard to read. I don't even think it says. It was a Jeep something. Oh, Jeep. 1961 Jeep. This is a, cab over engine. I don't know if that was part of the name of it. I don't remember. It's not totally written on the base, and I can't totally remember. But it will be correctly identified in the poll. So as I'm doing this video, I apologize, but go to lamleygroup.com and you can see the official name of the Jeep. This is what made this mix very, very popular, made it very hard to find. It is the Porsche 911 Carrera 4S, right? In red. This actually won the Best of Matchbox tournament. I figure it'll fare well in this as well, in this poll. But we'll see, because it's going up against all the moving parts models that were released, at least the new castings that were released in 2022. But it's a Porsche. They tend to be very popular amongst the Lamley readers and viewers, so I'm sure it'll perform fairly well. But think about it. There might be something else that you think is even better. But you like that, you should like that, and you should put it in there. This is a good one. Ford Bronco. Two versions, actually. One in moving parts, one in collector, just recently released. This is the two-door Ford Bronco. They put a four-door in the basic range, right? It was a Chase this year as well. But this is the two-door in kind of an orange, yellowish look. I just think Matchbox has nailed both of their Bronco castings. And I mean, just nailed them. And this one is really, really nice with the opening doors. And there's another opinion. That's one version. Here is the second version, just real quickly, but you saw it in the background of the other one. So we'll put those together. You're just voting on the casting, so you get two different looks at the casting. All right. Nice to see Matchbox. It's been well, I guess they put out a fire truck every year. At least they try to. But this is a nice big casting. They didn't put in real working rigs. This is the Seagrave fire truck with a moving ladder. You can even pull that part out, but has a lot of metal on it. Has a lot of detailing. They are able to break it up with that chrome, with the VUM. Matchbox collectors, they love fire trucks. They love ambulances. They love that utility, that realism. And so cars like this, even if they're not totally to scale, obviously, they're still very, very popular amongst the Matchbox collectors, of which many of you are, right? And you'll have to tell me if that's maybe the model you like the best. All right, I mentioned that Mattel Creations direct-to-consumer line. We had a few come out this year, including two new castings. This is the first one. This is the Drag Beetle. I think that's what it's called. Wow, Custom 72 VW Beetle Dragster is the official name. I think they've also called it Drag Beetle. This Dragon Wheels was an homage to a classic Drag Beetle from years ago that Matchbox did. And they did two other versions of this. So let's cycle through them very quickly. I think you just saw them on the turntable, but we saw just recently released this Moon Eyes version in collector with the two-piece reel riders on it, the Matchbox two-piece wheels on it. Moon Eyes deco. You know I like Moon Eyes. Maybe that's what I'm going to vote on. But you're voting on the casting. And then there's this one, which has been fairly in very small supply, but it's the this pink one in the moving parts line. That if we haven't seen it a lot now, I think we should see more of it in the coming weeks and months. It seems like they've kind of loaded up both Hot Wheels and Matchbox on releases here at the end of the year, almost catching up, and I'm trying to keep up. All right, here's the other one from the direct-to-consumer line. This is the Nissan Z Proto, right? In, I guess you could call it a Spectre Flame yellow, but more of a gold color. Two-piece wheels on it. Always fans of this car. A lot of fans of this car. This is you know, Hot Wheels has put theirs out. Matchbox is putting theirs out. This will return to the basic range, or at least to moving parts. I think it's going to be in the Japan series, right? That exclusive Japan series. It'll be there in the next mix in blue, I think. All right. We've seen a few Ford Mustangs. It gave us another convertible. We have a convertible in the basic range of the more modern Mustangs, or the more current Mustangs, better word. This one is a convertible with opening doors. Pretty like you'll see a lot of these convertibles. I think they're really easy to do with those opening doors, and so that was one that wasn't surprised to see. Mercedes, we're seeing more and more Mercedes in both Mattel brands. They just keep coming and coming in all kinds of different directions. So here we get, this thing has kind of a throwback vibe to it. Seems like it could have been put out. There probably was a version of this put out in, like, you know, the 80s, the 70s, something like that. This is the 1980 Mercedes-Benz 450 SEL with the opening doors. Very boxy. It's a boxy car, and this is a boxy replica of a boxy car. We'll put that right here. These last few models I'm showing you have only been out last few weeks. I had to really, I had to go everywhere to acquire these. Mattel sent me some I had to go to other collectors. I really have to give a shout out to Wyoming Wheels on Instagram. He's a local collector here in Utah. He and I have been in contact, and he said he had found some things that I have not seen, and he helped me get a few of these. In fact, we'll get to them here in a second. Are any of these in these? No. And then Utah Ace, another collector, helped me get this one. So this one and the Mercedes, because I hadn't seen it in the stores yet. So this is the Ford GT. It is the Silhouette. Two versions of this released this year. Silhouette that we've seen for years. It's an homage itself to the classic Ford GT that Matchbox did back in the 60s. But we've seen this casting. They just added an opening rear to it, right, to show the engine. So they put it in that classic number 6 blue and white deco, which I think all the first versions went in. And then we've seen it in the collector line as well in this blue color. A little bit more detailed, more racing livery on it, more with the Goodyear deco and stuff like that. So that one has the opening parts. So existing casting, but new because it has the opening parts. Here's the Hummer. This is what Wyoming Wheels helped me get, because I have not seen this in store. I assume I'll see more and more as we go into January, but I don't need them then. I need them now for the Lamley Awards. Hummer has opening hood on this one. Obviously, Hot Wheels did this one. Matchbox has done it as well. It is a very dark window. Some people wondered if it had an interior. It does have an interior. You just have to really look. It's there. So that is the new EV Hummer. Is that the only EV? I'm trying to think. Maybe that Mazda is. Some of these may be, and I don't know it yet, but the Hummer definitely is. All right, going back. EV Classic. EV Classic. Here's a classic. This is the Morris Minor. Opening hood, open top, soft top, very Abe Lugo. Cool car. His wife Mel has this. I think she has this car, so it's a replica for her too, which is kind of cool. They have such cool cars in their family. All right, this one, a lot of collectors after this one, brand new, just out, and it's in that. The Morris was paired, I think, with the Ford GT and the Mercedes. I might have that off. The EV Hummer and the Evo and the next car I'm showing you came from this last mix of moving parts. There is one more mix, but we're gonna have to let that bleed over into 23. It has a Golf in it. There might be one or two other cars that I'm not thinking of, but they'll go into the 2023 range. This is the Mitsubishi Evo. Official name, Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 4. So we're familiar with this car. It's nice to see it done very well with the opening hood by Matchbox. Dodge Charger. Another one that we've seen various versions of the Dodge Charger done by Matchbox. This is the first one with an opening part. It also has an opening hood. This is the 2020 Dodge Charger SRT. So it has that real sport wide stance. I think done very, very well. Has that real mean look to it. Very, very modern muscle, right, from the Dodge Charger. So that might be one. Wyoming Wheels definitely helped me get that one. And then two other ones that were just released. Matchbox actually sent me these in the collector line, and I have heard of people finding them in stores, so I know they're out. Here is the first one, Lamborghini Diablo. This is actually another one that's kind of a throwback to a classic Matchbox casting. Has the two-piece wheels. I'm looking forward to seeing this one with plastic wheels on it. But it has the opening rear for the engine. But the Diablo is one that Matchbox has done before, and so it's nice to see that one back. And now it becomes a throwback, right? Doing a 80s Diablo. Very Lamborghini really had it down in the 80s with the Countach and the others, so that really fits. And then the second generation MR2. We had the MR2 in basic range, first generation. This is the second. This is done. This one, like the original, has open headlights and closed headlights. I just got out the closed headlights. Also has right-hand drive, left-hand drive. This one is the left-hand drive. So it's cool. Now we have both generations of MR2s from done by Matchbox. They may have done one way back when, but these are both done very, very well. It's nice to see them together. But we're just looking at this one because it's the new casting in 2022. The old one was 2021, right? Released then. There you go. You guys tell me what you think. Head over to lamleygroup.com and vote. Lots to do, right? Basic and moving parts. Vote for the model that you think is best and vote for the model that you think was the most disappointing, the one that let you down the most, that you may have been excited for and it just didn't do it. It's always good to hear that. I think people like in Mattel, they want to know how you're responding to the stuff that they're creating. So let us know. Leave comments down below, but definitely vote. Thanks, everybody. Bye.